Crikey, it's time again for the CultCast, the greatest Apple podcast of all time. I'm your host, Leander Caney. Joining me today, we have D. Griffin Jones. Hey, Griffin.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for asking.
I just realized I never returned the favor and asked you how you're doing.
Oh, well, you did this time, and thanks for chipping in. Yeah, now I can tell everyone how great I'm doing. Even though actually I'm not.
Jeez.
I'm all sore from my bike riding. But yeah, we also have Lewis. Hello, Lewis.
Hey, good morning. It's a beautiful day in San Francisco, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, finally. And finally the freeze has eased a little. It's not so freezing cold as it was. Although it is cold in my house, though. Wifey has banned turning the heating on, and it's like I have to open the doors to get some heat in here.
That is a bizarre phenomenon. I have noticed that this year. It's warmer outside than it is inside my house.
Yeah,
and
same
you know what?
here.
It's not even winter yet. I looked it up just the other day. I was like, I thought for sure it was already winter. It's still fall.
Right. And this isn't even the coldest time of the year. Like Mark Twain said, you know, the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer in San Francisco. Like our heating comes on in July, usually. Well, when we have it turned on. It often reliably comes on in July when the fog sets in. Yeah, this is actually quite nice. I'm looking forward to going for a bike ride later if I can get a chance to. I know, here we're complaining. It's like, what is it, 55 or something? And it's 51.
51.
What is it where you are, Griffin?
21.
Yeah, right.
Yep, you're bang on the money, Lewis.
It's pathetic, isn't it? We're so coddled complaining about, you know, like a tiny 10-degree drop in the weather here in San Francisco, and it's like freezing.
It's weird, though. I remember going back to the Midwest, and it's like, it's freezing outside, but then everybody has their houses so hot. You know, it was like a constant, what do they call those things? Contrast bath or whatever. You know, hot, cold. San Francisco is just like kind of cold all the time, except for, 2 weeks out of the summer where it's like ridiculously hot.
Right.
But nobody, I don't know, man. Like, people's houses are always cold. Bars and restaurants are cold. I remember the first time I came here, my girlfriend and I, we went to some restaurant. I've never been able to figure out where it was. But I remember sitting there, it's like, concrete floor, and we were eating some Vietnamese food. It's like, this is awesome, but it's freezing. And they brought a heater out to our table. And this was in the summer. And it's like, what in the world is wrong with this? It's a bizarre city. It's actually one of the things that I found really attractive about San Francisco is it's almost always chilly. You're not like, sweating, greasy, horrible Midwest muggy summer. It's always cold. Now I kind of miss the heat, now that I'm older and thinner of skin. And
I used to live with a couple of Swedish people. They're my roommates, and they cranked the heating up to like about 80, 85, 90 degrees in the house. It was so hot that they walked around naked all the time.
Naked Swedes.
Well, nearly naked. Underwear.
House-side sauna.
They invited me to dinner one night. They said we're going to make you a special spaghetti.
I don't know.
When I sat down, it was literally a pot of plain spaghetti, and then the sauce was a bottle of ketchup.
Are you serious?
No, that was it. I was really shocked. But then it actually turned out pretty good. It was actually okay. I quite liked it.
No Swedish meatballs?
No, nothing. It was literally spaghetti and ketchup.
God, were they pranking you? Were they actually excited about this meal?
This apparently is a thing in the Nordic countries. That's how they eat it. You've never had that?
No. That is even below Ohio standards, isn't it, Griffin?
Yeah. Wasn't below my standards. I mean, that's my kind of. That's how I cook usually. But that one was really pretty shocking to me, and even more shocking that it was actually quite edible. It wasn't so bad at all.
Oh God.
Anyway, let's get on with the show. What are we going to talk about this week? Oh, the HomePad. Yeah, we're going to talk about why you might actually want Apple's upcoming smart home hub. Some great features coming to the studio display too. Griffin's going to break that down for us. We're going to talk about Apple, the one executive that Apple can't afford to lose, and how to ping your Apple Watch from your iPhone. This is actually one thing I've never ever done, and I don't think anybody else ever has done except for Griffin. But we're going to get into that anyway. And a question about the Mac that Apple should make. And I've got a short review as well of the Beats Pill. So let's get going. Lewis, what about this HomePad smart home hub? Why do you think people are going to want it?
Well, it does sound like it's an interesting device. You hear about this for a while. It's supposedly like a merger of an iPad and a HomePod, often called the HomePad. Who knows what the actual name is? But, codenamed J490. It popped up again in some pre-release iOS code, iOS 26 code that was obtained by Macworld. And the latest thing is that it's supposedly going to include a front-facing ultra-wide camera with center stage, which, if you don't know what that is, that's the Apple technology that keeps you in frame, right? So you move around, the camera follows you, super easy, which would be perfect. If the device that is kind of pitched as a great way to control your home and maybe sit in your kitchen on your kitchen counter. That's I'm constantly making recipes using my iPhone. Very annoying. Constantly turning off. Some apps have recipe mode or whatever, but it's tiny. It's hard to see. This thing sounds like it would be great for right there on your kitchen counter. Let's see. So this thing supposedly is, supposedly Apple was going to release this last year, right? But they couldn't release it because Siri was so lame, and they've been waiting for Siri to not be lame, which has not yet happened, and that. This device will be, it'll really take advantage of this new AI-powered Siri that is supposedly coming first quarter of 2026. Let's see. Supposedly this thing is also going to have Face ID, which sounds, perfect, especially for a kitchen.
There's a good reason for that. If it recognizes that it's not for security, it's to recognize the user and personalize the experience for the individual user.
Yeah,
So-
and that's what's kind of interesting about this. Supposedly, they've developed a new household-focused operating system that's for shared use by multiple family members. So complete with widgets, clock faces, all the normal apps, calendar, music, notes, etc.
It'll be a pretty interesting take on Face ID if they can get it to work on that class of display. Because the thing about Face ID is it only actually works if you're within 2 feet of the display of your phone. If this device is meant to be used on a iPad-sized screen from across the kitchen or from at least farther distances, maybe they've upgraded Face ID in some way to be more accurate or have more resolution or be better.
That's a good point because
across
it
greater
uses actually the
distances.
contours of your face. It's not actually sort of. It uses a what do you call it? Like a map, right?
Yeah,
a
like
surface map. So
IR .map,
and it
to,
beams infrared, right? And sees how fast it comes back. So yeah, I wonder. This thing's probably going to be radiating like a pulsar star, shooting out radiation into the kitchen so I could recognize your face. Maybe they have a different system for it. Because do you think that could work at a distance? Like you said, that's a good point. It doesn't really work more than a few inches away.
Why would it need to work at a distance?
What do you think you have to put your face right up to it for it to?
Well, a foot or so. I think I have to hold my phone at least a foot away from my face to get Face ID to work reliably.
Yeah.
I don't know why it would have to work across the room. I think the more interesting part is it would unlock different scenarios for different members of a household, which that still doesn't work on an iPad, does it? An iPad is single use.
Right.
Why can't it work on an iPad if it can work on this device? That would be cool. That would be something that I think iPad owners would love that. You could share an iPad. You don't need 2 iPads. Every single person need their own iPad. So anyway, this thing is supposedly the big exciting new addition to Apple's their push into smart home stuff. Their whole smart home thing with HomeKit it's just been the whole history of this is it's been slow and behind
Rubbish.
everybody else, right? HomeKit isn't rubbish. It's just at first they had these specific hardware demands. You had to have a certain chip, so people didn't want to buy the chip. They didn't want to have third-party manufacturers didn't want to have to put those expensive chips in their devices. Then they changed it to software. Somehow it now works with software. You don't have to have that special chip in it to be a HomeKit device. But and now they're also there's Matter, which is cross-platform and better than everything. So.
Yeah.
So Apple's now trying supposedly get back into this home thing. The Home Hub is going to be, much like a HomePod, works as a home hub. It's going to let you do all your, control all your smart devices, right? Your lights and your window blinds. I've still never tried the window blinds. I wonder how often you have to recharge those, or do you just have to?
I think the window blinds ones are like weirdly expensive, like hundreds of dollars for just smart home connected window blinds.
I mean,
and you wouldn't expect that to be so pricey.
I understand the appeal, but it just seems like I don't know. It seems complicated. Like, how do you get power to them? So I have no experience with them. I'm ignorant of the smart home window blind category, but I have a lot of door locks. I have a lot of lights that work with HomeKit, and I love being able to do that. I just put one. Suzanne and I, have a fairly large collection of alcoholic beverages at our house. It's and we had on this nice glass, shelving unit that I sort of got. If there's ever an earthquake, it's going to be a 3-day cleanup. And we also had this thing. We got this at a vintage shop or something years ago. This little image of like it's the classic like drunk guy hanging onto a lamppost, right? Drunken Englishman outside
English.
a pub. You could tell he's English just by looking at him. And his nose is a red Christmas light. Okay, and so this thing, but it has a cord, that plugs into the wall, and that's how it doesn't have a switch on it. It's just you just plug it in manually or what, and because of that, it's been, it almost never gets used. It never gets lit up, and so I finally got around. I put it in the middle of the bar shelving, set it there amongst all the bitters, and I plugged it into a smart plug, and and now I just say, hey, nitwit, turn on the drinking light. And boom, his red light pops open. It just, that does make me chuckle. I'm sorry. That is a smart home trick that is pleasant.
Useful.
It's pleasant.
You should have a dedicated control center button just for that on your phone.
What I could do is set it up an automation so it goes on at 5:01 p.m. every day.
That's what I was thinking. How come it doesn't go on every day at cocktail time?
Maybe only Fridays. Anyway,
Okay,
so, the thing is, like, this device sounds cool. This HomePad sounds like a cool thing. I hope that it is a precursor to Apple doing more stuff. I mean, another thing mentioned in this report is there's another device that is, something with a camera, and they're speculating, well, is it going to be the Apple Smart Doorbell, which has been in the works supposedly for a long time. They're saying, in fact, this is probably more like a indoor security camera, which I still don't actually understand what good indoor security cameras are. I mean, I get evidence for the police after your house gets ransacked. Mostly, I think it's just for looking at your cat when you're on vacation.
And they also have apparently a cheaper variant of this that is meant to just go on a wall and might not have the speaker part of it. Just a smart display kind of thing.
Right.
Like an iPad stuck to your wall.
Yeah. And I mean, that sounds cool too. I mean, I think we've discussed it before. I mean, when somebody comes to your house and they don't know how to work all your smart stuff, it's a little weird. So it's nice if there's like a real obvious way that they could do that. So,
the appeal I see is, I have a calendar widget on my phone. Other people in my household have like a little calendar widget. You can check my calendar. I've got it on my watch, but nothing compares just like seeing it in a physical space, like on the wall. And, I could get a paper calendar, but things are changing, moving constantly. I don't want to like just copy all of the stuff from my calendar onto a physical calendar. Like having a digital calendar just physically pinned in space on this area that I can always just passively look at. It could be a genuinely great product.
You've got one of those in your Vision Pro, don't you? Big calendar, big virtual calendar on the wall.
The widgets in the Vision OS 26 are not terribly reliable. They don't update very often. It's a little buggy. Yeah.
That's very disappointing.
They run a little better on the M5 Vision Pro than the M2 Vision Pro.
Right, I bet they do, yeah.
Yeah.
My mom has a 10-inch, what's it called, Amazon Echo Show that follows her around the room. So it does have a lot of this sort of functionality. This is kind of years old now too. I bought it for her like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. And it's really great. She uses it all the time for all kinds of stuff. She can sit when someone rings her smart doorbell, it pops up, the video feed from the doorbell so you can see immediately who's there. It's super useful because she never forgets to charge her doorbell. So half the time it doesn't work. But, she uses it to play the wireless from London. She plays Tweet of the Day on Radio 4, which is the bird watching show.
Tweet of the Day. I thought it was like a live feed of Twitter.
Oh God!
It's much more interesting, fascinating. It's bird song.
Gee whiz.
It's really, really pretty good. And actually, it's the one device really that I don't have to troubleshoot for her. Maybe because she doesn't mess it up. But it works pretty well. Yeah, I think this home stuff is really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing a whole suite, spending thousands and thousands of dollars on a bunch of extra new stuff from Apple. Of course, in the meantime, the house is drafty like the old Victorian that it is. I wish Apple would invent some kind of home heating technology so that we don't have to freeze all the time.
Is that what the Intel Macs were?
Yeah, that's called the Power Mac G5.
Yeah, I should get that fired up again. It's in the basement. Let's talk about the one executive that Apple's fighting to keep. So, as we've seen, there's been a lot of reports, isn't there, these past few months about Apple's brain drain, all these executives leaving. And the one that Apple's really keen to hold on to is Johny Srouji. And he's the man who cooks up Cupertino's cutting-edge chips. He's the guy who appears in all the videos in the basement with...
like a mad scientist.
In the chip lab.
Yeah, you can't understand a word he says. You have to turn on subtitles in order to follow what he's saying. But there's a story this week that he told Tim Cook that he was, quote, seriously considering leaving Apple in the near future. This is going to Mark Gurman at Bloomberg. And apparently Cook is very keen to hold on to Srouji. He's been offered a substantial pay package and additional responsibilities. And one scenario even considered making him Apple's chief technology officer. And that would make him the second most powerful executive at the company. This, of course, would be a big blow. He's responsible largely for Apple Silicon, or at least he oversaw it. He was hired way back when to start with the A-series chips that power every iPhone, and it's since developed into the chips that power everything, including the C1 modem, the N1 wireless chip. So Srouji himself responded to this on Monday, and he sent a memo to his underlings saying, quote, I know you've been reading all kinds of rumors and speculations about my future at Apple, and I feel that you need to hear from me directly, he wrote. Quote, I am proud of the amazing technologies, CAP-T, we all build across displays, cameras, sensors, silicon, batteries, and a very wide set of technologies across all of Apple's products, CAP-P. Together we enable the best products in the world. I love my team and I love my job at Apple, and I don't plan on leaving anytime soon, quote. And I think that last part, anytime soon, isn't that a little suspicious?
It is a little bit of a non-denial denial, as they say, where I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. That can mean a lot of things that don't necessarily mean I'm staying at Apple forever.
Right. So, yeah, I think this is an interesting opportunity to talk about all these executive departures, because, of course, there's rumors about Tim Cook leaving. That was kicked off by a Financial Times report. And then, of course, Mark Gurman, probably the leading Apple reporter, said that this was a load of bunk, that they were planning for Cook's succession, but there was actually nothing on the table. He probably wasn't going to be leaving in January, but maybe they make an announcement then, I think is what he reported, and maybe leave later in the year. But then everyone's all in a tizzy because we've seen a whole bunch of high-profile executive departures, and people are sort of worried about what's Apple's up to. Although, did we discuss this in previous weeks to death?
We talked about Alan Dye and John Gianandrea. I think we and then the day after that was when Lisa Jackson and the other woman, I forget her name, announced that they were
Katie Adams.
Katie Adams. Yeah, it's just deeply unfortunate timing that the week that Apple planned on announcing John Gianandrea, Katie Adams, Lisa Jackson leaving, with press releases on Apple.com newsroom. In the middle of that, Alan Dye left too. It's not a very good look.
Yeah, and then the very day after that explosive week, Gurman has this report about Srouji leaving, and that was a whiplash, man. Apple they responded to that quite quickly. What a surprise that Srouji's memo leaked to Gurman.
Right. Well, it seems like Srouji would be a big loss, isn't it? That
Out of everybody, he would absolutely be the most instrumental. He is maybe one of the most important people at Apple, I would argue. It's kind of ridiculous that he doesn't have a C-level position, really. He deserves to be chief technology officer.
do you think this is his way of angling for that? You know, I mean, maybe this is because maybe he's been pushing Tim Cook in private to do something like this, and you know there hasn't been any movement, so he leaks rumors about his own departure, which you know kicks it up to a higher level.
I mean, if not for the fact that he immediately issued like a memo on Monday saying that he doesn't plan on leaving, this story is so fascinating just because like Gurman, as he originally reported it, is that Johny Srouji personally met with Tim Cook to say that he was planning on leaving at some point. Like, who would leak that information other than Johny Srouji and Tim Cook? Like, does it then, you know, Tim Cook's assistant like looks at his calendar or like overhears in the room, or you know Johny Srouji's like intern just is like, hey, what was that meeting about? And then leaks that to Griff. Like, where does this leak come from?
Well, this whole series of stories has, above Avalon, what's his name, Neil Seibert. So he's speculating that this is OpenAI and Meta and other competitors who are, sourcing all these rumors to make it easier to recruit Apple talent, or to sort of set doubt among Apple employees that the company, you know, make it sound like the company's undergoing a brain drain and people are leaving left, right, and center, which kind of, I don't know, makes it less attractive for them to stay, and you know, therefore easier to poach by some of its competitors. And obviously, there's a lot of competition going on for AI talent right now in Silicon Valley, and
Yeah.
Apple has definitely seen like a lot of departures in that department. And I don't know, you know, like from the outside, it looks like it's making the company suffer, you know, because it's had so many troubles with Siri and other, you know, AI applications. I don't know, you know, they definitely could have there's definitely sort of something weird going on, isn't there, with all these stories and all these rumors that are.
A lot of the things in the last week in particular about the high-level executives, like these are all just planned retirements. Jeff Williams, he was just retirement age. John Gianandrea, he had a big project and it failed. Lisa Jackson, she's getting up there in age. Like those aren't anything particularly unusual. And I can also see the angle of Johny Srouji feeling like he deserves a bigger title. Like, I mean, these things also just sort of stack up when all the C-suite executives are anticipating a change in CEO or a big leadership change. It, you know, makes everybody ask the questions of like, okay, well, you know, these changes are happening. Am I happy where I am right now? Does the company need to be reorganized to some degree? Like Gurman was saying, I think that, you know, consolidating Lisa Jackson's department and Katie Adams' departments into operations and legal, like, you know, that's just simplifying the number of direct reports that John Turnus will have when he becomes CEO. He won't have, you know, 8 people answering to him. It'll only be like 5 or 6. That makes sense. And I can also see, you know, going back to John Turnus, Johny Srouji is older than John Turnus. You know, yeah, they might be like peers, but you know, he still sort of sees himself as being a little senior to him. That guy's going to be his boss now. You know, that can be a little bit of a weird thing if I put myself in Johny Srouji's shoes, especially if he feels like, you know, I lead the chip team, one of the most important teams at Apple. Our output of work influences literally everything else that Apple does. Their entire product pipeline years down the road. You know, it doesn't matter how good your software is or how good your products are if our chips aren't good enough and world class. And we're making world class chips. I deserve to, you know, be a C-level position
Right.
if I'm playing Johny Srouji.
Yeah, I mean, you think about every aspect of Apple's operations. Like, what's the one? I mean, aside from, you know, marketing is pretty good. The chips, the processors. That's like the one thing that is an unadulterated success. Like the software, people are complaining about the software for years now. Not as good as it used to be, buggy, etc. Don't like liquid glass. Maybe you do like it. Whatever. The design. I mean, the design seems to be getting. People seem to think it's getting back on track, but they've lost a hell of a lot of designers in the past, like, 5 years.
That's a good point,
or whatever.
really. The design team, you know, since Johnny Ive left, the world, everyone felt the sky was falling when Johnny Ive left, and then his lieutenants took over. First of all, it was Richard Howarth, and then Evans Hankey, and now there's a new person in charge, and I don't even know who's on the design team anymore. Like the original, the team that was responsible for the iPhone and everything else, the recent, under Johnny Ive, they're all gone. Like that, there's no one left apparently.
That whole department is a
new
black
design
box.
team.
The only person we know is Steve LeMay.
Yeah, well, but it's been a kind of a success, hasn't it? Really, I mean, a lot of people sort of thought, Johnny Ive has definitely undergone sort of a reassessment. Like some people are like, well, things kind of got better when he left, which I think, I don't know, that's a little bit of an unfair assessment, but there's something to it as well. I think Apple Design has been more responsive to feedback, like from complaints from customers. Like they've actually added a few more ports. They've actually fixed the keyboard and gone back to an older design, which I think, I don't think Johnny Ive would ever have agreed to. It's got Apple's like the Mac lineup, the industrial design of the Mac lineup, I think is the best that it's ever been for sure. They're beautiful machines and amazing value, especially at the low end, and the pros are beautiful. Anyway, so this changing of the guard is not necessarily a bad thing, is it? And of course, like with the company of Apple, how many people work for that company? And it's such a black box. It's so secretive that we don't know anybody who works. I was looking at the executive team, the executive page, and like I didn't recognize half of those names there. Like who are these people? I have no idea. But of course, like I would bet for a long time that they've been working there for a long time. Apple, of course, is known for its there's Apple University. The homegrown training program that teaches everybody at Apple, all the managers, all the senior leaders, how Apple does things, and it seems like it's a remarkable success. It's been very, very good at training people internally. I think the big worry is pulling people in from outside Apple who aren't inculcated in its culture and want to change things up. I think that's a big danger. I think there's probably no danger at all if they recruit from inside the company, especially if they're recruiting people who've been there for years and have been like, trusted team members, trusted lieutenants. Like Steve LeMay, he's been there since 1999, before Aqua, before OS 10, and he's had a hand in every single piece of interactive, user interface design that the company's ever put out, and nobody has ever heard of him before, 2 weeks ago.
Had you heard of him before?
No, I had no
His
clue.
name had never
He
popped
had been
up
mentioned, though. But he hadn't popped up. Like there's a photograph that we published about the original iPhone team, 4 or 5 guys, and we've done a whole bunch of stories about Baz Ording, who was one of the leading guys. We've done stories about
Ken Kashenda.
Yeah, because he wrote a book. He's definitely got a higher profile. So a few of them have bubbled up, and like especially since leaving Apple, they've had a little more freedom to talk. But so a few of them have a little bit of a higher profile. But yeah, LeMay, he was there. You could see his name listed, but no, he's had no profile at all. He's never. I think he's given 2 interviews that I could find. One was with his old high school, where he answered like 3 questions.
Right.
And then there was something with wallpaper. I think they trotted him out for like a brief interview with the Apple Pencil. But no, it's kind of amazing. And Apple is full. There were thousands of people like him, thousands, no doubt, thousands of people, very, very talented. Like some of probably the best designers in the world who are working there under complete anonymity. Apple's got a deep bench, a very, very deep bench for sure. As long as they don't screw it up, who they promote, pick the wrong people. But it looks like, I don't have any real concerns about Apple's brain drain.
I'm glad they're holding on to Johny Srouji for at least sometime soon.
I saw so many people like Gruber was like, oh, Gurman really screwed up with that first story, and it's like, are you kidding me? Things change, and there's no it didn't say when that conversation happened. They might have had a conversation a month ago, and it might have filtered out through who knows. Somebody that works with Srouji is talking to him, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, man, he's like threatening to leave. Trying to get a higher profile, more money, etc." That guy probably deserves it. I have no idea what he brings home, but he seems like his department is killing it. So thinking that these things couldn't change quickly, word leaks out and Tim Cook's like, oh, I better really make him an offer he can't refuse. That's what that memo that Srouji, I mean, it totally sounded to me like, yeah, the check just cleared. I got my raise, and hey, Tim wanted me to send an email to you all saying, hey, don't worry, everything's cool. And by the way, please, leak this as fast as possible.
Right. Where do you think he's going to go? I mean, he was floated as a potential candidate for the CEO of Intel.
I don't remember the name of this company, but there was a startup that was mostly founded by ex-Apple Silicon engineers. He probably would have gone there if I had to hazard a guess. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the fact you don't remember the name of it, maybe, I don't know. A startup, I guess, would be kind of interesting, but I don't know. Aren't startups stressful and unpleasant to work for? And,
yes.
Someone
I've worked for one for a long time.
With a company like Apple, I mean, he has had an enormous impact. I think that's the advantage, I think, for a lot of Apple staff is that they look at their work and they go, okay, well, billions of people use this. And, they work, they toil in anonymity and no one recognizes their work outside. There's no external validation. They're not famous. They're not written up on blogs that they're anonymous. So I don't know. I think that's one of the things I think like some Apple staff is like a little bit of public recognition, which maybe he doesn't get. But where are you going to? His work is hugely impactful. I think there's probably any other company I can think of where he could have such an impact. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be hugely. That's going to be give you a lot of juice, isn't it? That's got to be like massively motivating. As much, and they're all rich as heck anyway. I mean, these guys. I mean, in fact, that Katie Adams, I was really shocked about that. This is Apple's top lawyer. How much money she makes? In fact, she made headlines a couple of years ago for being like the highest compensated corporate lawyer in the
Galaxy
world. 27 million or something like that in that 1 year alone, and that was like 26 million before the year before. She's sitting on like 140 million, 150 million worth of stock. I mean, these are just eye-watering sums.
$500,000 every single week. That's just insane.
Yeah,
God.
I mean,
I picked the wrong career path.
Indeed, yeah, I know. Definitely. Anyway, before I start ranting about income inequality, let's move on to.
Let's talk about fun new computers.
Right. Let's talk about the new studio display. This actually really sounds really cool. There's going to be a whole bunch of new cool features coming to the most expensive display that money can buy. Why don't you tell us about Griffin?
The studio display launched in 2022 and it's starting to show its age. Here's a fun fact. My first published article for Cult of Mac was announcing the studio display. The original one. That's how long it's been. Yep.
Wow.
In the last couple of years, there's also been increased competition from Asus or possibly Asus. There's no way to know how it's pronounced. BenQ and ViewSonic, each launching their own 5K 27-inch Retina displays for significantly less money. So, studio display still $1,600. It's ripe for a little bit of a doing up there. An upgrade with newer technology has been expected for some time. Code in iOS 26 references an unreleased external monitor with the codename J527, according to Macworld. They've been on a tear of finding
what's going on?
unreleased products inside code. I don't know if they hired a new guy that's just does that for a living, just combs through decompilations of iOS and tries to find these things. But this is apparently the Apple Studio Display 2, rumored for 2026. It reveals that the screen supports a variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz, making it a ProMotion display, just like MacBooks, iPhones, and iPads. In addition, the Studio Display 2 supports HDR, not just a standard dynamic range. HDR is, of course, also only available on the MacBook Pro, in addition to the ridiculously expensive Pro Display XDR, among third-party displays by Samsung and LG. The improved performance in the upcoming version will reportedly come with the move to a mini LED panel. So a typical LCD display LED display has a singular backlight that illuminates the entire thing at once. This uses thousands of smaller LEDs to provide backlighting for individual regions of the display. So separate parts can get much brighter than others. And this is sort of like a middle ground between an LED display and an OLED display, where an OLED display has every single pixel lit individually. This is also the technology that the MacBook Pros and the Pro Display XDR use right now. So this is mostly just bringing those fancy display technologies onto trickling it down to their entry-level desktop display. Wednesday's leak suggests the next-gen version will get upgraded to an A19 Pro chip, the same chip that goes into the iPhone 17 models.
That's absolutely madness. That's in a monitor.
Yeah. I don't know why they would do the Pro chip and not just the entry-level A19.
Well, why do you need such a chip? I mean, this chip's a monster anyway, isn't it?
Maybe, well, now that I say that, it's probably, they probably need the A19 Pro if they want to move the Studio Display 2 to Thunderbolt 5, which I imagine is what they would do.
Can't Johny Srouji come up with a nice, cheap Thunderbolt 5 chip to power it?
Honestly, probably the R&D of developing a bespoke chip for a display would have so much less volume that it probably is actually cheaper to just use the A19 Pro.
Yeah, even though it's overkill.
Yeah, but I imagine they'll probably, if they're doing Pro Motion on an external display with 5K resolution, they probably need to move it to Thunderbolt 5 because I wouldn't be surprised if it's only Thunderbolt 5 that has the bandwidth to, drive a 5K resolution at 120 hertz. So I guess that can make sense. Putting an A19 chip that would future-proof it. Apple supposedly isn't increasing the size of the display. This leaves the open question of what they're going to do with the Pro Display XDR. If they introduce a display that's only $1,600 that has the same HDR and has a better refresh rate, makes the Pro Display XDR at $6,000 look a little silly. Yeah, you could spend $12,000 getting a Mac Pro and a Pro Display XDR, or $4,000 getting a Mac Studio and a new Studio Display with virtually the same performance and features.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds kind of cool. I can't see myself buying one, but I'm kind of ashamed. You get big OLED TVs. How come they can't bring OLED to the Mac display, to the Studio Display?
There are a lot of OLED displays you can buy, but they're just not Retina displays.
Because they don't have that resolution?
Yeah. Like you can buy a 1080p OLED display or a 1440p OLED display, but this has to be 5K resolution because Apple, 15 years ago planted their foot in the ground and said, we like higher resolution more than we like, high frame rates or other display qualities. So
isn't the quality of displays like almost perfect already? I mean, I don't know, with the color, I don't know a lot about displays, obviously, but with the what do you call it? The color gamut and all that kind of stuff.
They're
aren't they
very,
almost
very
perfect
good,
already?
Especially the Pro Display XDR. But the Studio Display actually has a pretty old panel in it. It's basically the same display panel that they've been using ever since they started making the 5K Retina iMac from, I think, 2015 or 2014.
I was going to say, yeah, a good 10 years ago, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've got a couple in the basement, which I'd love to convert into 5K displays, but to do it properly, you've kind of got to open them up and put a new board in there, which actually sells quite cheaply, doesn't it? Is it like $50? I think you can get it for.
I think around like $100 to $200. But I wrote a how-to article on that you can follow the directions.
Did you ever
for.
try it yourself?
No, I did not. I wrote up basically an instructional video that somebody else had done about it.
Right.
Took a few screen grabs.
Yeah. I'd love to do it myself because, like I said, I've got a couple of these things sitting in the basement that I'm going to get rid of, and they're too nice to send to the landfill. But then again, opening them up is such a huge nightmare that it's probably not worth it.
Your computer is set up basically in a closet. Do you have a room for another display?
No, but I've got. I was going to put it in the basement. I'm actually trying to set up this. My wife is obsessed with our digital photo library with pictures. It's about 2 terabytes now with tens of thousands of pictures of the kids. That we've had all these years, and so now I've had to set up like 6 different backup plans. It's getting backed up locally to Time Machine. It's on another hard drive. It's getting backed up to the cloud. It's getting backed up to Google Photos. It was getting backed up to Flickr. There was multiple backups. And so anyway, cut long story short, it's all living on this one iMac that I updated to a big, massive 6 terabyte internal hard drive, where I had to take the screen off of that one to do that, and then subsequently crack the screen. But that's living in the basement. So now I was going to actually think about attaching another monitor to that, just to, I don't know why.
For fun.
Because I couldn't bear to get rid of them. for no reason. But to make myself more work for myself.
What's the point in having a bunch of computers if you're not constantly opening them up and tinkering with them?
Right. Well, I got enough things to tinker with. I'm constantly fixing stuff around the house without having to fix old computers, so I don't really want any more work.
What about you, Lewis? Interested in a Studio Display 2, editing text at 120 hertz and HDR?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I question whether my eyes are good enough to notice. I mean, the screen that I have is not great. I can tell it's not great. I don't think I want to spend $1,600 on a great one because it's adequate. So I don't know. It would be nice if I had all kinds of money. Sure, I would get one.
Yeah.
But it's also not that big, right? What is it? 27 inches?
27 inches. It's 5K. That's big enough.
I think I got like a 32-inch screen or something.
Yeah, but you might have a physically larger screen, but what's the resolution of that screen?
I don't know, 4K.
Well, you could go 5K.
What? So everything would be even smaller, and I'll have to zoom everything up. It's like this whole resolution thing. It's like every time I look at my laptop, I take it, go on the road or whatever. It's like, oh my god, everything is tiny, and I have to I almost feel like I need to go into accessibility settings and just make everything jumbo. Jitterbug
Or you could update to
Mac.
Tahoe. That makes everything big for you too.
Oh, maybe I would like Tahoe, the only person on the planet.
All right, so let's thank our sponsor for this week, HelloFresh. So why don't you tell us about HelloFresh, Lewis?
Yeah, you've probably heard of HelloFresh, right? The #1 meal kit in America. They make home cooking easy with chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients delivered straight to your door. This fall, they're serving up even more to love. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
HelloFresh has doubled its menu. You can choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. Dig into bigger portions. That's what I need. Bigger portions. Keep you satisfied. Let's see. They say they've got an even healthier menu than before. You can choose from 15 plus high protein recipes each week with options like grass-fed ribeyes or lamb chops. Oh my God, I love a good lamb chop. Oh.
They send you a giant box, very similar to Factor. It's got the frozen packs in it so that it all stays cold. And right at the top, you get these gigantic, full color, really high quality recipe cards that show you all the this is all of the ingredients that go with this thing. Pictures for each step showing you exactly what you need to do. A bunch of things individually bagged in different paper bags, so you can unwrap it, just dump everything out onto the counter. You don't have to I gotta buy a full bottle of this sauce that I'm never going to use again because I only want to make one thing with it. The exact quantities mailed right to your door for everything you want to make. It couldn't be easier.
With HelloFresh, the best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/CultCast10FM now to get 10 free meals and a free breakfast for life. I always love the free breakfast for life kind of situation. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/CultCast10FM to get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. That's an appealing deal.
Very nice. I'm absolutely salivating now, and I can't wait to get to lunch, so let's get this show over with. This is the one thing that I think only Griffin has a problem with, which is how to ping your Apple Watch from your iPhone, which I don't think anyone has ever done except Griffin, because usually you ping your Apple Watch, your iPhone from your Apple Watch, because that's the one you usually use. But sometimes if you lose your Apple Watch, here's how to find it from your iPhone.
A lot of people don't know that you can do the reverse as well. If personally, I don't have this problem because what I do is I maintain the rule. The Apple Watch is either on my wrist or on my charger. I don't set it down anywhere else. But I know other people, I won't name names, are a little more loosey-goosey. They commit to having a watch band that isn't terribly comfortable, and they don't want to switch it out all the time. So they just take it off, and it just ends up in places. And then you've got to find it somewhere, and you can go into Find My and tap through 6 different buttons and get it to ping. But you can set up a control center button on your iPhone as well. I think this is just new in iOS 18 or iOS 26. So even if you haven't updated iOS 26, you can already set this up. You go to Control Center, you tap and hold to add a control, and you can search for it. I don't think it's in the top section, but you can type in watch, and then you can add a ping my watch button. You can even resize it to make it really big so it has a label so you know which one it is. You've got a button right there that pings your watch, just like how you can ping your phone from your Apple Watch, and it'll play a sound over the speakers, even if your watch is in do not disturb, even if it's in a focus mode like I am right now. So there you go.
Very nice.
Super easy. If you can add this button to somebody else's phone if that's a problem that they suffer with.
Well, you just gave me a great tip there. I didn't realize that expanding them allows you to see what they actually do. That's my biggest problem with Control Center. It's like I've got no clue what half these icons do.
Oh yeah.
So
in the editable Control Center that they've had since last year, if you tap and hold on it to edit it, you'll notice that each of these buttons has both like a minus button on top, but also a little resizing widget. So if you want to make a button really big, you can. It's a little buggy still. You can resize it, and then it adds a text label, or you can make it. Some of them you can make a gigantic square if you want. Not all of them. It's kind of confusing. But yeah, if you want a really big remote button, you can make it really big and completely break the layout of your Control Center.
I'm gonna have to go and edit mine because mine's kind of like I've got 3 or 4 of the same controls for some reason. And
That's funny.
I do actually use it quite frequently, but for certain things.
And the longer I keep doing this, the more I keep breaking my Control Center. So.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then, of course, you can have multiple screens too.
My Control Center's so junked up, it's ridiculous. There's 50 things on there. I never use any of them, and
Right.
it's just stupid.
Time to get in there.
Actually, I'll do another tip while I'm at it. You can have multiple pages of Control Center, but what I often do is that I do like sort of a two-handed gesture where with my right hand I'll swipe down Control Center, and then with my other hand I'll just tap a control really quickly. And you can only do that, I think, if you only have one page in Control Center. Otherwise, when you swipe down, then it wants you to pick a page before you can interact with any of the controls. And so it's not as fast. But, one-handed, swipe down, tap a button to disable Wi-Fi, swipe back up. You can do that motion pretty quickly if you only have one Control Center page. I try to stick to only one page.
Well, what's the default? Because don't they break it up so you have music and...
Their default Control Center page, and then they have another full page for like the connectivity controls, and then another full page for HomeKit controls, I think, by default.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone beyond the first page. But there it is. All right, cool. Very nice tip. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. I did not mean to disparage you when I said you were the only person. I didn't realize that you were actually doing this for somebody else. So my sincerest apologies. I'm no, like you, my Apple Watch is either on my wrist or it's on the charger. I don't think I've ever put it anywhere else.
People are really loosey-goosey with AirPods too. Like if you never want to lose an AirPod, just have the rule. An AirPod is in your ear or it's in the case, and you never set it down on a table. Even if it's just for a second, put it back in the case every time.
Well, that definitely, my wife was just complaining, like, why don't my AirPods work? And I looked at them, and then like, there's 2 different generations of AirPods in a case. And then that and my son as well, his AirPods got all mixed up. And they never do that. I mean, my goodness, that rule, hell will freeze over before that happens. That's a nice tip. Yeah, very, very good. Find My is like one of the best things ever. I use it all the time, keeping track of people, keeping track of devices, car keys, wallets. What a great invention Find My is. Thank you very much, Johny Srouji and Tim Cook. All right, cool. We've got a question this week. What's the question, Lewis?
And this comes from a anonymous person via the text line. If Apple can make a much cheaper MacBook with an A series chip inside, could they make an even cheaper Mac Mini with one too? I think the answer to that is why not? Why couldn't they? I mean, it would be easier, right? I mean, it would be easier to make a Mac Mini than a laptop with a tiny little chip.
Fewer
like
components.
That,
My answer to this is they already kind of do. The Apple TV. The Apple TV is a full computer. It has an A series chip inside of it, and it only costs $129 or $159 if you want the more space on it. I think if you start from there. Like start with an Apple TV, the shiny black tiny little case, really mini, only like 2 ports on it. Maybe you take off the Ethernet port and you replace it with 2 USB-C ports. You've got a full computer, and they'd probably want to put more memory in it, a little more storage. But I bet if they made an Apple TV based Mac, put Mac OS on it, they could probably sell a Mac Mini for as cheap as like $350 or maybe $299, and I think that would be absolutely incredible.
The Mac Nano.
Yeah, Mac Nano.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I would definitely go for one of those. Is there any disadvantage really between having? What would the disadvantage be between, if you put an iPhone chip into a MacBook? Would there be any? Is there any disadvantage? Then obviously it's not as powerful as an M series chip.
Less multi-core performance, and I think only the M series chips have like a few special niceties, like the media engine, the more. I was about to say more powerful GPU, but even the iPhones have like the ray tracing and whatever graphics stuff that they put in it. But like the media engine is one of them that they can like decode more advanced formats of video, more RAM typically, but I don't think there's anything stopping them from beefing up the A series chips to make a really high quality cheap Mac.
And hasn't Apple for years been using basically the same logic board for like the iMac and some of the lower end MacBooks, and the Mac Mini before it got really, really small? They've been using basically the same guts for different machines for a long time, haven't they? Going back to Steve Jobs, I think, with that famous the quadrant where it was like professional and consumer, portable and desktop. Since then, I think they, under John Rubinstein, I think they consolidated a lot of their design so that they were reusing basically the same guts across multiple products.
That's long been the ethos of the iMac, a desktop all-in-one computer basically built out of laptop parts, but without a battery, and a little less portable.
Yeah. That would be really cool. Do you think they'll do it though?
No.
How?
I'd really like them to.
Well,
a tiny little shiny like Apple TV sized Mac Mini, that would be excellent, but I don't think they'll do it.
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't know. They might do it. Why not? Why wouldn't they do it? They've been getting, that Apple's entry-level products in the last few years have been astonishing, really great products. Like before they were always kind of, crap. But
well,
recently.
Well, like the Apple Watch SE, right? Like,
Yeah.
definitely not anywhere near as good as a regular Apple Watch until this latest version, which I bet, I don't know, I don't own one, but reading about it, the specs and everything, it sounds like 90% there. And
Right.
What is it? Half the price or something? So,
It can't measure blood oxygen, but last year an Apple Watch Ultra couldn't do that either. So
Yeah. There's very little to stop it. We've bought. We bought about 4 of them for Christmas presents this year for various people. It's going to be an Apple Watch Christmas SE for the whole Caney clan. Yeah, it's a great little device. But the entry level iPad is fantastic too. The entry level iPhone. The iPhone 17 this year is absolutely fantastic. Apple's been killing it at the lower end, really, for better than they ever have done, I think, in their entire company history.
For how long the story has always been, you don't want to get the base model. You really want to upgrade the storage, or you really want to upgrade the RAM. That's really not the case anymore. Every base model is still an excellent product.
Let's talk about the Beats Pill, which is not a new product, but I finally got my hands on one after it was on sale for Black Friday. I got it for $50, which I think
was one of the best deals out there.
Yeah, it really was. And this thing is fantastic. Let me switch my camera here. This is the Kim Kardashian edition.
Is it?
It's only $50. Yeah, that's the only thing about it. I wasn't too happy about that, but it doesn't have a name on it anyway, so I can live with that.
Her voice doesn't greet you when you turn it on, does it?
Luckily, no. What do you do get though? Let me turn it on. I don't know if this is going to come across, but the thing really packs a wallop. Here we go.
Ooh.
It's got a built-in subwoofer, and even though it's kind of small, here it is next to my iPhone. You can see it's not. This is an iPhone 17, the regular one. It's not that much bigger. It really puts out. It's not. They say it's room-filling sound. It's not room-filling, but it is really good. And surprisingly,
it's got to be a small room.
Depends on the size of the room, doesn't it?
If it's a small room like mine, it will fill it up. But it's got all these Apple niceties. The build quality is fantastic. It really is well put together. This thing is going to, will take a beating for sure. And you can throw it in your bag or possibly even a pocket if you've got big pockets.
Jeez.
And take it anywhere. and it sounds great. It sounds phenomenal. It sounds way better than I thought it was going to sound for such a small device. It has Find My built in. It's sort of one-touch pairing, which I believe even Apple is on Android. It's got a super long battery life. It's 24 hours battery life, and you can even use it as a power bank. Using it with the USB-C. Which you used to use for charging, but you can actually plug in other devices into here, and this will charge up, your iPhone or your AirPods or whatever. It's IP67, water and dust resistant, so it'll take you can splash it with some water in it, and it won't die. Yeah, I was really impressed with it. It's just a really beautifully made thing. Normally, it's like I wouldn't know if I hadn't got it for $50, maybe I wouldn't be so delighted with it. But the $50 certainly helps, and you can even actually stereo pair these. Now, I haven't tested that out, which is the one thing I'd like to try. But yeah, I was really delighted. I was really happy with this thing. In fact, I went down a whole rabbit hole with beatboxes. There's so many choices now. On the market. Like my brother wanted one for Christmas, so I did a lot of research looking into all the different brands and trying to find a portable Bluetooth speaker, and ended up getting one from W King, which is a brand I hadn't heard of before on Amazon, but actually really well respected. Got this thing called the X20. It puts out 300 watts apparently of sound, but there's a whole bunch of great ones from Soundcore. And in fact, Dave this week, Mr. Golden Ears himself, the Cultimat writer who knows the most about, who does a lot of audio stuff, he recommends, what is it, Lewis, the one he recommended?
Can't remember. That's the one thing I don't like about Anchor and Soundcore is that their product names are numbers and sometimes even the same, like Nano Power Bank. Like, there's which one? Mm-hmm. But, yeah, what was the name of that speaker he was talking about?
The Soundcore Motion X600. It's on sale right now for about $140, down from $200. He gave this a really high, it said it was absolutely fantastic, really, really good portable speaker, mainly because it has an up-firing speaker driver that gives it this kind of much a wider sound stage. And so the bass coming out of it was really good. But... yeah, your sport for choice. You sent me a link to one, a Soundcore one that's on sale right now on Costco for $75.
Yeah, and I have one of those Soundcore Motion Boom, I think it's called. 2, I can't remember exactly. Motion Boom Plus 2, whatever. It sounds great. I mean, it's really cool having I love portable Bluetooth speakers. I remember the very first time I ever saw like a little one, and I was just trying to remember the name of the company that made this thing, but I remember it was at like an Airbnb at South by Southwest, and Mike Calori pulled this thing out of his suitcase, and it was like this big, the size of I don't know, about the size of a banana or something, like not even that big, and it's like, wow, that sounds awesome. It was such a great way to listen to your music from your phone. It blew my mind. And now
coming out of a banana.
Well,
of a banana.
Doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. The the batteries are shot, but it's such a cool design. I wish I could show it to you. It was like just crazy to me. And then like Ultimate Ears, when those speakers started coming around, those Bluetooth speakers, those were
those are
super
fantastic.
impressive.
Yeah.
I have a ton of those. I use those all the time. The Motion Boom thing from Anchor is a bigger, like a traditional like boombox kind of form factor. Also great. Yeah, it's amazing how good those things can sound.
Yeah, totally. I used to be obsessed back in the 80s with boom boxes. Like I had a cassette ones and the one with a double cassette so you could record from one to the other. And then the ultimate one was, wasn't there some monster one from Sony that was absolutely gigantic? That everybody
like the size
wanted.
of a full-size suitcase.
But I got one, I think,
pounder.
eventually. I coveted it for years, and it actually didn't sound that good in the end. It wasn't as good as some of the sort of more medium level ones. Yeah, we're sport for choice these days with all these different speakers.
I know what a lot of people do is they get a HomePod Mini, and you can like pull the regular power cable out of it and attach sort of like a battery base to it and sort of convert your HomePod Mini into a portable speaker. But I feel like the people who do that are overlooking the Beats Pill. If you're saying it's got excellent sound and it's, you know, its own built-in battery as well.
It's waterproof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least water
Take it
resistant.
to the pool side.
I mean, that's like some of the ones that Ultimate Ears makes. Yeah, I mean they're not only waterproof, they float. You know, it's just like awesome. You take it to the pool, you don't have to worry about it getting wet or lost or anything. It's amazing, these devices these days. Oh gosh, I can remember when we used to have actual boom. But you remember cassette tapes and always getting the tapes getting eaten. Oh my God.
You had to carry a pencil with you, didn't you, everywhere, so you could wind them back in again.
And the sound quality.
I must have spliced a million tapes as well, you know, like to get rid of all the chewed up part, and then you have to splice it back together again with a bit of tape, which actually surprisingly worked kind of well.
Yeah, and if you actually liked a song, or like for instance, back when learning songs on a guitar or whatever, like rewind it and listen to the same section over and over, and like the tape just loses its sound quality. I mean, we are blessed in this digital. I know some people don't like digital music, but my God, compared to that stuff, oh my God, it's just it's like heaven.
Wait, let me correct you there. You said some people don't like digital music. Let me correct you too. Some people fetishize analog music. That's how it goes.
Well, I mean, like the last record I recorded? I don't know. We've recorded on tape, and there are reasons to do it. It's like the sound actually I think is better, and it compresses it, and it also, there's something to be said for limiting the number of takes, right? Like it's a little bit of a creative hardship that is, you don't go crazy going, oh, I did 57 versions of the guitar solo. Okay, great. Who wants to listen to those? It's nice to actually have this like kind of constraint that makes you focus, makes you say, okay, we got to get this now, and we can redo it on this thing, but we can't, you can't do it a million times. So I think it always ends up getting dumped into digital anyway. But do
you still have a record player?
There's one on a shelf downstairs. I don't have an actual stereo. I have 2 HomePods. It's kind of sad. I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, I wouldn't mind having an actual real stereo, but frankly, I mean, I mostly listen using a little Bluetooth speaker or AirPods. It's almost the only way I listen to music. My wife likes classical music. She doesn't like any of the stuff I like. So
yeah, my son he got a record player for Christmas a couple of years ago, and went on a short binge of buying records, because you can get a garage sale. Well, you used to be able to get for $1, but that people have wised up to that now. That now they cost a lot more, $5, $6, $7, $10 even. So the days of cheap vinyl are over, and it didn't really last that long either. So his interest in records. I used to have a beautiful record collection which I left in the UK, and when I combined it with my dad's collection and my mom's collection, she had a whole bunch of original Motown stuff.
Wow.
Otis Redding, early Beatles singles. Like some of this I'll bet is priceless. But when I left the UK, we left it I left it entrusted it to a friend.
Oh dear.
Who subsequently sold it or stole it. So it kind of got scattered to the 4 winds. Thousands of probably very, very valuable records. But when you think back to it, record playing was always I mean, they were always scratched. They was always covered in dust. It would always go wrong just at the best part of the song. But saying that, I used to buy a record a week, and I was absolutely obsessed with record collecting and all that it entailed. And the one good thing is, if you bought a record, you would almost force yourself to like it, just to get your return on investment, to get your money's worth. I don't know if I like this, but I just spent my last £10 acquiring it, so I'm going to force myself to like it. And that actually is a good exercise in taste, because often, you end up liking the stuff that lasts. The stuff that you like for a longer time is often the stuff that's you overlook initially. The songs that really grow on you, right? Like the big single, the one that goes to the top of the charts, is the one that you really can't listen to years later, maybe because it gets overplayed, and it's those smaller tracks on the album. But yeah, I don't miss records at all, I gotta admit.
I mean, I'll admit I was making fun of analog music. I own 6 records. I don't have a record player. I just have a bunch of records that.
Oh, you do?
I mean, just as like physical embodiments of like, my favorite, few albums.
Like just a souvenir.
Yeah. I bought this album from this band like 10 years ago. I still like it, so I'll just buy their physical.
And you've never played it? They're
Red
Some of them
vinyl.
are still in the original plastic as well.
Well, that's the one thing you do miss is the artwork, the fantastic album artwork and the gatefold covers. And
I got Lady Gaga's Chromatica album, and it comes with like, vinyl that's printed on a weird color, but it's all like the booklets and stuff that come with it too. There's like this big book that explains like this absolutely insane, bizarre lore of like the album, and it's printed in like this heavy, thick black ink on basically like tissue paper. So as you're physically reading the book, it stains your hands black. It's
oh wow,
the most bizarre thing, and it's perfectly in tune with like, yeah, that's exactly what I would expect a Lady Gaga vinyl album to be like.
Sounds like a newspaper.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is
Apple's attempted over the years, isn't it, to try to bring back that kind of album work. What was that one thing they did with those animated?
There's still animated album artwork in Apple Music.
I can't say I've ever actually really noticed it. Have you?
Never is cool. And it's another thing, like Bluetooth speakers, amazing. Well, all this digital music available. I used to spend hours in record stores and then later CD stores looking for things, and it's weird how that kind of, I can't imagine being like a 20-year-old right now and having all of this new music. I mean, maybe they just, I know a lot of people use Spotify and stuff. They, the recommendations are fantastic. They're always finding new music. I find myself playing like same old crap I listened to when I was in college. It's like just easier than trying to like find something new.
Music's still broken. I listen to the radio in London a lot, like queue it up on the HomePod or through TuneIn. And I don't know. It's not the greatest experience, but they one thing I just did discover, which I'm ashamed to say, is not surround sound. What's it?
Spatial
audio. Spatial audio. For the first time yesterday, I actually heard spatial audio for the first time, and I was freaky as heck. I was completely blown out of my mind. I was like, "What the heck is going on?" I thought I was hallucinating because it sounded like it really is freakily. It sounded like the sound that was coming from a boombox right in front, 3 or 4 feet in front of me. Strangest thing. I almost took my AirPods out because I was like, I can't be hearing this right. Something's going on. I'm hearing some music from an external source. Have you experienced it? Do you listen to tracks in spatial audio?
Yeah, I also had my first spatial audio experience not too long ago. I mean, technically it's on the Vision Pro, but it's not the same as like having headphones on and like hearing it. The first devices with spatial audio that I've had other than that are the AirPods Pro 3 that I just got a couple months ago. And I don't know, I feel like I need to find more tracks that like really go all in on like a full spatial audio mix that like sounds like you're in the middle of the band, because I'll play up like it's also Apple Music is just kind of broken. I don't know if when I'm playing this Beatles album that's supposed to be spatial audio, if it's actually just playing like the 15-year-old MP3 that I've had in my library forever. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like I need to like really
Well,
seek out
I listened to a few tracks before, but I think this one particular track that I heard, you could hear it sort of subtly, but this one really made it dramatic, and I think that was probably because I hadn't listened to spatial audio before, but just hadn't listened to the right spatial audio track to get that full effect. And I don't know if how much spatial. Any idea how much audio is put out in spatial audio now? How many tracks are available?
They have a lot of playlists, a lot of spatial audio playlists on Apple Music.
I have to dip into those. Maybe I'll give it another try.
I gotta say I haven't like sat down and listened to a whole bunch of these. I remember listening to some when it first came out or whatever. So, sounds good.
Yeah, because it doesn't really add that much to the party, really, for music. I mean, for movies, obviously, it's great, isn't it? Because
it's astonishing.
It's great to hear. Yeah, for sound coming from something behind you or
absolutely
to the side.
Frightening at times.
Right.
Like there's a rat scurrying through my. Oh no, it's the movie.
But music, I don't know how much it adds to the party. I'd have to like you guys dig into this a bit more. But that's interesting. The Beatles, they have Beatles spatial audio Beatles tracks.
Yeah. And it's like, well, the Beatles recorded on these crummy microphones 60 years
Mono.
ago.
Four tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all remixed. And, you got to wonder, is it really better or is it really following their vision for the music? I mean, it can't be, right? They had no idea that this was going to exist at this point.
All right. Well, I think let's wrap it up there. Is that a good time? How long? Have
We actually ran a little long. We're good.
20-minute tangent right there at the end.
All right. Well, I think that's enough of this. This is all the CultCast we have for you this week. If you want more, Lewis is on Twitter at Lewis Wallace. Griffin is on Mastodon at dgriffinjones, and I write every day the Cult of Mac newsletter, which you can find at newsletters.cultofmac.com. Please send us a text or some kind of comment. Use the link at the top of the show notes or in the YouTube comments and ask us questions for the show. This has been the CultCast, the best Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you all next time. Have an absolutely peachy weekend, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Peachy. Didn't see that one coming.
No, me neither. good, but a really good thing to go out on.
Oh, yeah.
Peachy indeed. See you, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
That wasn't too bad, I guess.